something different. I'll actually talk about I call it weather there.
The T-shirt?
Okay.
You're talking about this one. A friend of mine gave it to me.
We could disagree with that because I don't always feel like debating with you. We talked before, and
Well, we're not debating. We're talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, imagine, we just made in the street.
10,000 hits on YouTube. I don't think I'd be a very popular one, though.
It's not about popularity. It's not a popularity contest.
But
it's just exchanging. It's the exchanging of ideas. See,
here's an exchange of ideas. This is an interesting one. Now, my professor, I'm taking a clean technology class, is the biggest capitalist of them all. Big capitalist. He believes that global warming is real, it's happening, and you could make money by investing in clean technology.
I do believe that global warming is real.
Yeah.
I do believe that it's happening. I do believe that climate change is happening.
Wow. And it's human caused.
It's just not caused by humans.
Okay. So
that's why I call it weather.
What?
That's why I call it weather.
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 Okay. Now, you know the difference between weather and climate, right?
Well, of course, climate is not. Climate is changing. Absolutely, it has been. Guess what? Since you go to college, I'm sure your professor told you that Earth is 4.5 billion years old.
Yeah,
You know
of course,
that, of course. You know that in the past we had the continents all put together.
Yeah, in
Pangea, you know that. You know that only 700 million years ago. I mean, 4.5 billion versus 700 million dollars. All life that did exist by that time, by 700 million years ago, was virtually extinct because of
a mass extinction event.
No. What happened 700 million years ago?
I will consider.
When there was Pangea?
Oh.
I will consider.
There's a global freeze.
Oh, Snowball Earth was a
Snowball,
little
exactly.
I love you.
Snowball
Me
Earth
too.
was a little
Have a
before
good
then.
one.
You're so funny. So funny.
We'll be in touch. All right.
Snowball Earth was a little before then because it was about 1 billion years ago. But yes, there was no life on Earth.
Okay, 700, let's say billion, whatever the number is. It was long time ago.
Yeah.
Let's say several hundred million years ago, at the age of dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this area was probably tropics, right?
Maybe.
I'm pretty much sure that it was. Then 10,000 years ago, we had Ice Age, right?
Problem is, it's anthropogenic climate change.
Now, speaking of that, here's another curious thing. You like this number, 350, right?
What?
350. You like this number. You throw this number around all the time. 350, 350 parts per million.
Yes.
Right. It's now close to 400,
Yes.
supposed to be catastrophic, right?
It'll eventually get there.
The funny thing is that for 17 years, temperature has been kind of stable.
It'll
Guess what? I've got a surprise for you.
What?
This winter,
Yeah.
the Great Lakes.
Well, yeah, they did freeze, but
the steel company Alco had to stop its production because they couldn't get the ore that is shipped by via the Great Lakes.
Yeah, but that was a weather event, not a climate event.
Oh, okay. So when there's a hurricane in a particular place, you call it climate change. When the Great Lakes freeze over, it's the weather.
It was a weather event. It was a weather event.
Interesting. So you sort of pick and choose what to call weather, what to call climate change.
Now we have a debate. Now we have a good debate.
Okay, I see.
I'm actually glad about this one. This
Good.
one I'm good at.
Good. So let's talk. Since you like it, you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Good. So let's continue that.
Okay.
I mean, we're just common sense, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything that you really have to go to college for.
No,
I mean, basically,
no.
I mean, if you really, did your homework, even at
reports,
school. I mean,
yeah.
at school, I'm sure at school they taught you that. I mean, it's just fundamentals.
Yeah,
the Earth was warm. There's the sun. Then there are the volcanoes. Then the oil is seeping through the crust. Then we have, speaking of, it's called hyperthermal vents at the bottom of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
You know
so
all of
there
that.
was life, and there was life
So-
during Snowball
so-
Earth, in those vents.
So the point is that Earth. Oh, and speaking of Earth, by the way, Earth is well, I mean, depending on what the yardstick you use is, you can call it big, you can call it small, but it's in kilometers, it's 6,400 kilometers in diameter,
Very
right?
big, yeah.
It's fairly big. Now, out of 6,400 kilometers, I remember this number is in kilometers because that's
Yeah.
what the system that we use in
Yeah.
USSR. So, out of 6,400 kilometers,
Yeah.
which part of Earth is actually kind of habitably cold?
Well, we all know that there's cold spots. I mean, obviously.
No,
the
the
North
number
Pole
out
is
of
like-
6,400.
I can't quote numbers.
I mean,
numbers are hard.
there's a particular, you can call it in
There's
miles.
The
In
North
miles.
Poles, there's the South Pole.
But
I mean,
what's the highest peak?
what?
The height of the highest peak, roughly.
You mean the highest?
The highest peak, on Earth, and the highest trench.
Everest.
Yeah, which is about what?
Marianas Trench.
Right, correct. Which is about what?
I don't know. Everest
let's say,
is about airline.
Everest
size.
is about no lower than that. Of course, it's about 9 kilometers, and the Marianas Trench is about 11 kilometers.
it's very
So
deep.
altogether, from the highest peak to the lowest peak is about
Alright, sea level.
20 kilometers.
Sea level
20
slash
kilometers.
a little bit,
What do we call this particular part of Earth?
All right, it's a habitable zone.
No, it's called the crust.
Yeah.
It's called the crust.
Yeah.
So the crust is roughly 15, 20 more or less kilometers, right?
Yeah.
What's the rest?
Oh, the mantle, the core.
And how cold is the mantle?
It's not cold, it's hot.
Exactly.
It's hot.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what I'm getting to,
Yeah.
what I'm actually getting to, is that when it comes to Earth geology
Yeah.
and to the Earth structure,
You could invest in geothermal energy.
I'd love to. I mean, we're working. I'm not against it. I'm wholeheartedly for what we're called the
technology.
right wingers. All of the above. As long as it's profitable.
All the above is a
It's-
failure of an option.
all of the. Of course, nuclear works.
No, Fukushima doesn't work.
It's the best example of how safe.
Unaffordable.
Of how safe.
Too expensive.
How
Even companies
safe-
aren't investing in it. They can't invest. They're putting money. They're dumping this money into nuclear, and there's corporations. There was my professor pointed. Deutsche Bank was against nuclear. Deutsche Bank, a capitalist bank, was against
Well,
nuclear
how,
power.
how long ago did you take that class?
Recently.
Recently. Well, maybe your professor didn't kind of brush up on the latest news of what's happening in Germany.
Unaffordable.
Well, maybe he didn't brush up on that.
Oh, he did brush up on it. That there's a
how much
pro-coal,
how much does a nuclear plant cost?
billions of dollars.
Like how many?
I don't know how many billions, but they're building a plant in Georgia. I know of
So
that.
let's say a couple of billion of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Couple of billions. Now,
A solar photovoltaic panel is much cheaper
Now-
than a $2 billion nuclear
now
power
and this
plant.
is a profitable company. I mean, nuclear.
Not at all profitable.
Of course they are.
Not at all
Yes, they are.
profitable.
So the name Cylindra, does it ring the bell?